Mike Wolfe, the beloved star of American Pickers, recently opened up about the tragic struggles of his former co-star, Fritz, and the opioid addiction that ultimately changed the course of both his life and their long-running show. Fritz, who was Mike's partner for many years on the popular History Channel series, has faced a series of personal challenges, including a battle with addiction that has overshadowed his time on the show. While Fritz's departure from American Pickers shocked fans, it wasn't until recently that Mike Wolfe revealed just how deep the struggle was and how much it affected both their friendship and their professional lives. In an emotional interview, Wolfe shared how the addiction changed everything, painting a picture of the difficult moments he and Frank faced behind the scenes. The struggles behind the scenes. Fritz's addiction to opioids was something that Mike Wolfe had known about for years. Although the duo's dynamic on American Pickers appeared lighthearted and full of laughs, behind the cameras, there were moments of tension and concern. Wolfe explained that it was hard for him to watch his friend and coworker slip into a destructive pattern, especially given the close relationship they shared. For many years, the addiction was kept private, with only a handful of people knowing the true extent of the struggles Fritz was facing. But as Fritz's condition worsened, Mike Wolfe started to see the toll it was taking, not just on Frank, but on the entire American Pickers team. In an interview, Mike recalled that everything changed when Frank began missing work. What started as occasional absences turned into extended breaks, which ultimately led to his departure from the show. Wolfe expressed how painful it was to watch his longtime friend battle addiction, especially knowing that Frank had once been so full of life and energy. The decision to part ways. As Frank's addiction worsened, it became clear that something had to change. Mike Wolfe shared that it wasn't an easy decision to part ways with Frank, but it was one that needed to happen for Frank's health and for the show's future. Mike explained that he tried to reach out to Frank several times, offering help and support, but addiction is a powerful force that often prevents those who are struggling from seeing the full picture. Mike admitted that it was one of the hardest decisions he's ever had to make, as he and Frank had shared not just a professional partnership, but a deep friendship. Wolfe emphasized that he never wanted Frank to feel abandoned, but that ultimately, Frank had to take responsibility for his recovery in order to move forward. Wolfe also pointed out that the nature of addiction made it even more complicated. He explained that, as someone who has never personally dealt with addiction, it was difficult for him to fully understand the depth of what Frank was going through. However, Mike tried his best to support his friend from afar, hoping that Frank would eventually get the help he needed. The impact on their friendship. The personal toll of Frank's addiction was felt not only on the show but in Mike's personal life. Mike has always described his relationship with Frank as one of brotherhood, and to see that bond affected by addiction was a painful experience. In his interview, Mike talked about how it felt like losing a part of his family. Their shared love for collecting antiques, hitting the road, and finding treasures together had been the core of American Pickers, and to have that chemistry change was incredibly hard. Despite the painful circumstances, Mike made it clear that he never stopped caring about Frank. He emphasized that his decision to part ways with Frank was not a rejection of their friendship, but a way to protect both Frank and the show. For Mike, it was important to maintain a sense of professionalism, but he always hoped for a future where Frank could get clean and perhaps return to the show one day. Frank's legacy and the road to recovery. Mike Wolfe has since reflected on the legacy Fritz left behind as a co-host on American Pickers. Despite their differences, Mike acknowledged that Frank was an integral part of the show's success. The chemistry they had on screen was something special, and Mike never took it for granted. In the months leading up to Frank's departure from the show, Mike held on to hope that Frank would overcome his addiction. While Frank has faced several public battles with his health, including a recent hospitalization and recovery process, Mike expressed that he continues to wish his friend the best and hopes that he finds peace and healing. Wolfe also stressed that addiction is a complex and devastating issue that affects millions of people. By speaking out about Frank's struggles, Mike hopes to raise awareness and encourage others to seek help before it's too late. He made it clear that addiction is a disease, not a choice, and that those who are affected by it need support, understanding, and compassion. Moving forward. Mike Wolfe's candid reflections about his friendship with Frank Fritz and the toll addiction took on both their lives have resonated with fans who have followed their journey for over a decade. While the future of American Pickers may look different without Frank, Mike's words serve as a reminder that real-life struggles often take precedence over the spotlight. As Mike continues to work on American Pickers, he remains hopeful for Frank's recovery and wishes his friend nothing but the best. For fans of the show, it's a bittersweet reminder of the complexities that exist behind the scenes in the world of reality television.